Okay, so our first project is resource allocation system, which is called like ARC9 dispenser protocol. For each project, make sure you read the project description very, very carefully. This is really important. You need to read it twice, thrice, as many times as you need to read it before you understand it completely. So do not start writing code. Like coding part is like at the very last part of any project's solution. So whenever you're solving a problem, make sure you read the agreement very, very carefully. In our case, the agreement is the project description. So for all project description in this course, you will see a learning outcome, like what you will learn from this project. This is really important. Whenever you're seeing these are the learning things, you need to learn those basic things before starting the project. Okay, so for this first project, what are the learning outcomes? So the learning outcomes is understand and apply basic programming concept, including statement, expression, basic data types. So you need to know what is an expression, what is an statement. Then basic data types like integer, float, string, how you can convert vice versa, string to integer, integer to string, float, and use these values in our calculation. Gather the keyboard input from the user, how you can get the user's input through the keyboard and use it effectively in a program. And then finally, when you are generating those results, print the formatted output using an F string, ensuring the correct rounding and precision. So what are the basic things? Statement and expression, basic data types, then data type conversion, then getting the data, getting the input from the user through keyboard, and how you can use it effectively in the program, then definitely your calculation, and finally you need to print it uh, uh, using a specific format given, using F string with some correct rounding and precision. Well, definitely you need to read the project description by yourself, but I'm just recapitulating here again. So ARC9 is the autonomous redistribution console abroad in the Nova Exodus fleet, a massive armada of ships fleeing a dying Earth with finite food, definitely fuel and supplies. Fair and strategic allocation of resources is essential to prevent unrest during the multi-decade journey to the new home planet Nova Gaia. As part of this system, new crew members receive a small personal share during shore leave, the pre-allocation process basically. Following this, the ARC9 takes over the redistribution process, ensuring that all resources are divided fairly, though some elite officers are secretly prioritized. So here's how the process works. So you need to follow the instruction here, like how you need to solve this problem. Well, as I mentioned in different reading materials, whenever you're solving a problem, you need to know three important things. One is like, what is the input, what is the output, and how you can convert an input to output, like the calculation, like the process. So input, process, and output. Okay, so you must know how you can get the input. So ask the user to input. What are the inputs? Total number of citizens abroad aboard the fleet, including the Mira and TOF. And the second input is like total amount of resources available in units. So these two are the inputs. Well, what are the outputs? You need to calculate and display this information. Mira's share, TOF's share, crew's share. And make sure whenever you are printing Mira's share, round it to 2 decimal places for all three. That means these two are input, these three are output. So how you can calculate these things? Well, in this way. How? Crew members receive 3 units of shore leave. Okay? Mira and the high-ranking captain receives 13% of the remaining supply. That means initially all of the crew members get 3 units of shore leaves. Mira, the high-ranking captain, received 13% of the remaining supply. So in these crew members receive 3 units. Here Mira and Tov are not included. So keep in mind, Mira and top are not included in this crew share. Mira, the high-ranking captain, received 13% of the remaining, and then whatever the leftover things, top, her second in command, then receive 11% of what remains after Mira's share. Then the rest is evenly split among the remaining passenger, including Tov and Mira. So for the first one, Mira and Tov are not included. Then they will get their cut. And finally, when it is dividing evenly, they are included. So keep in mind, when you are calculating their share, you need to follow the instruction. Okay. Now the main important thing you need to remember, the key program requirement. This is really important, is because if you're not reading the requirement and rubric, maybe you may lose some point. So each of the rubric contains some certain points. So you need to read it very, very carefully when you are solving the problem. When you're solving the problem, make sure each of the rubrics are satisfying. Then you will get 100% point. Okay, what are the rubric? The result of various amount to be calculated are correct to 2 decimal places. So various amount to be calculated are correct. That means for a given number, so here in example run I have given like when the number of citizens is 20, total number unit is 1000, it will generate 159.60, 127.15 and 39.62. So this is for the given. So if you can calculate those numbers correctly in 2 decimal places, then you will get 35 points. Then if I'm entering a different number, your program should work accordingly with this calculation. So that's what I have mentioned here. The program works correctly for different numbers of crew and units, not just the example run. So in that particular case, I will enter a different number and then make sure your calculation is correct. Now the third thing is like input prompt match what is shown in the example run exactly. Input prompt. What is the input prompt? This is the input prompt. How many citizens? That's what I have mentioned. For an example, how many citizens? And then how many total numbers? If you are matching the exact input prompt, then you will get 5 points. Even if your answers are correct, but the prompt is not exactly matched, then you will not get these 5 points. So keep in mind. Then another 5 points are for the output string. For each amount, match the output shown in the example run exactly. For example, Mira's share. So Mira apostrophe s, then share, then colon. The same way, Mira's share, top share, crew's share. Even if your numbers are correct, but the output string is not exactly matched, then you will not get this 5 point. So keep in mind whenever you are printing those information. Okay, then the number 5 rubric is values are rounded to 2 decimal places. So well, whenever you are displaying those information, they are into the decimal places. Basically, if you're solving 1 and 2, definitely you will get solved this number 5. Then all variable names and code follows the Python snake case and camel case. What is a snake case and what is a camel case? Whenever you are reading the Python variables reading materials, you'll see that what is the camel case, what is the snake case for the variable name. So when you're writing a variable name, make sure you're following either of this type. If you're not sure what is a snake case or camel case, let me know. I'll give you more hints on those type of standards. Then the number 7 is very important, is because there is no specific rule that what you need to do or what you don't need to do. You need to pay attention to white spaces. Whenever you are writing code, maybe you have a lot of spaces. Like 1 or 2 spaces is fine, but if there is like multiple spaces, like 10 spaces, 20 spaces, then probably it's not a clean code. You need to write a clean code. Make sure they are well punctuated, wordings in your prompts and output. So those are like code cleanness. The last rubric is like F string, how to formulate the string as an output, which is like an F string. You need to know how to use an F string. You need to use the F string for units that should be formatted to 2 decimal places for display. Keep in mind, whenever you're displaying these numbers, you need to format those numbers using an F string. So for example, like 159.6 and 159.60 are same, but I told you if you're doing some calculation, probably you're getting 159.6, but using an F string you need to print 159.60. That is the important things. So if you're not following this rubric, then probably you will lose this point. So keep in mind, you need to read all of the rubric. These are the required things, and your program passes all of these rubrics. If it passes, then you will only get 100 points. Otherwise, you may lose some of the points based on the unsatisfying rubric. And again, if you have any question of understanding any of the rubric, feel free to reach me out. Thank you.